Welcome back to another flight analytics. Here's my takeoff in Saint André. I'm taking off east faced. It's early, reasonably early for October, about 12:30 in the afternoon, and I took off what seemed like a cycle on. There's a few pilots up here already flying higher, and I'm pushing straight out to the white cliffy thing towards Westerly. It's not working necessarily super early, and it is 27th of October. Everything starts a bit later. So I'm just doing 8s here. You can see some pilots above me getting a better lift, and as you are higher, everything gets a bit easier. Here I'm just kind of looking around for any indications if I see anybody climbing. I saw some birds higher up with the pilots above me here. I decided to join them, and sure enough I got up all the way to 2000 meters, which is pretty incredible for this time of the year. You can see in this thermal that there is still some southeast component in the wind. I decided to use that and just head forward. I thought it's gonna keep me up pretty well, and sure enough it did. Having a tailwind really helps to have a nicer glide going all the way forward with not losing all that much altitude. I lost only 100 meters on all this glide, using wind coming from southeast, hitting the mountain, going up, pushing me forward at the same time. I arrived quite well at this next cliff, as it is west facing, and the way the valley winds go around here, so the local valley winds will be coming a bit more westish here, even though the prevailing is south-southeast. This is the reason why this thermal right here is a bit more messy. I saw some pilots ahead who were climbing up higher and better, so I decided to leave this one and go for the next one. Got a really nice one all the way to 2500. Reason for this thermal to be so clean is because as you get higher, prevailing winds took over and the valley winds didn't influence anymore that thermal, so I got a nicer, smoother thermal. I went straight to the next mountain. I decided to go closer to the mountain as the prevailing winds were still coming from south-southeast, just to use the dynamic off the ridge, which worked reasonably well. Then I connected to Cheval Blanc, and because of the same prevailing wind and the valley winds, local valley winds coming in, it was a bit messy here at the corner. I thought, alright, so I'm gonna head a bit north, see if I can get something there, as the local valley wind should take over, as the prevailing wind was mostly higher up instead of lower down, and right now I'm quite low, scratching for survival. It did work. As I got higher, I managed to get more and more 8s and just kind of climb out slowly, gently, not rushing it, till I got my first reasonable thermal here and got above, again up to the 2500. You can see a pilot higher than me, and yes, you could climb a lot higher today. It was possible. It usually is a better option to go higher. Today I just decided not to. Wanted to see how far I can go just following the mountain instead of going higher up. I knew there should be dynamic lift because of the prevailing wind, the south-southeast wind. That means that the mountain should have southeast component, and because of the local valley systems, normally the winds is coming in from the west. So basically you have winds coming from both sides, and as I turn around here in the track log, you can see that I'm heading into the wind and it's more from the westish, so I lose my glide as I'm heading back. Went somewhat in the lee side, at least for a bit. It smoothed out as I got lower, as the bigger mountain protected me from the prevailing winds. The winds in general wasn't very strong throughout the day, so all these lee sides wasn't really all that bad today. Once I got here, it was just looking around and seeing what I can make of today. My original plan was to head west and cross over these higher mountains, but as I got lower, I didn't seem to be able to climb much higher. Part of it was because I was just not patient enough, and I wanted to see how long I can fly staying under 2000 meters and just kind of scratching about. The day was really bubbly. It wasn't super strong, but everything was just working all the time. I could get little bubbles here and there non-stop, and I had decent options to climb a little bit all the time. But the local valley winds will be coming in here through the valley in front. I was just using that and see if I can manage some dynamic plus thermic activity. As you can see, the sun is shining on these cliffs. There's a black rocky sort of sand thingy in front that is different temperature, so there should be nice triggers. And I thought I'll come back in, see if I can get some bubbles here. Nothing really was working at the moment, but as I learned already today, it was all about timing and patience really. The cycles was happening, they weren't super strong. You can see the cloud on left up there, they're not very strong clouds. So I decided to, okay, I'll have a little bit height here and then just kind of push into the valley and try to connect to the mountain in front to the left, because that one is just a little bit better into the valley wind, and it has a nice cliff and sun is shining there. So I was like, okay, I can try to work these beautiful orangey trees and see if I can get up here. Did my turns left and right and trying to figure out where's some lift here. and eventually get my way all the way up. Here again, I could have been a bit more patient and stay upwind a little longer and just kind of work the light thermals, but it wasn't really working, so I said, okay, let's try to head over the little valley here and cross to the next mountain. I got a little movement in the air, thought maybe I can get something. That didn't really work, so I thought, okay, I'm gonna come here. They are still in the valley in these mountains, but the sun is already a little bit on the other side. It's kind of getting some little bubbles here. Again, 100-200 meters. Decided to follow the ridgeline towards the sun to get across and have the sunny side more, which I managed quite well, and there's not super many landing options on the right. Decided to gain a little bit height here just to stay safe, not get stuck down low on the right side, and I wanted to work the right side because of the sunshine being there, even though the valley winds are coming more from the left side of this ridge. Carefully moved forward, and voila, here I am in front where the sun and valley wind meet, and of course the thermal also comes a lot better here, so I'm just kind of again slowly making my way up. Initially my thought was to cross to the right here to the bigger ridge. The winds there will be coming opposite, so I'm on the lee side of this ridge, kind of protected by it. It's not very strong day for winds, so it's not a big issue being this low on the wrong side of it. And if you look from the global winds, then you can see how the winds would move around. So I'm trying to use those. Try this little hill here, which is kind of in the middle of the valley. Sun's shining all around it, and it gotta work. There's some fields, there's a little town. So I thought, I might as well try. There's a road, I can land always, I can hitchhike back. I was too low to rush, so this time for sure I had to make sure I have enough height. So I just gained a little bit enough height to make sure I can connect to the ridge here farther ahead, as I wanted to be at the higher level of the ridge instead of the darker green, but the lighter top, to make sure I have some dynamic lift there. Plus some thermals, so I just barely made it on the left side. Beautiful trees just skimming above. Didn't really need to use any turning here, as the way the mountain's shaped, the way the valley winds are, it works really nicely. You can see little clouds popping up in front of me there, so I knew that mountain's working. Plus I saw a couple of pilots ahead here flying in front of me, so I just kept on going forward. Beautiful colors, amazing autumn day. Going forward till I felt like I reached the best spot to climb up to do my next crossing, which is going back to the takeoff area, to the west facing of it. Have a little shadow here, so I moved forward away from it to gain a bit more sunshine and have better chances of getting a thermal, which I did. Climbed up again just about 1900 meters or so to be able to cross over to connect to the next mountain. You can see the Saint André takeoff, the west facing it. That's where I started, following that cliff line there, going north. Now I'm heading back. Just kind of nice line, not too bad of a glide. You can see the two clouds growing up in front, so I will try to connect to one of them. Works this dynamic. You can see there's a glider in ahead of me, showing me where the lift is. I'm keeping an eye on him. That glider actually went and top landed down on the southeast facing takeoff, which was a bit surprising, but that just shows you how little wind there were down low. And here you can see the cloud up that I didn't go all the way up to it. Didn't need to. I just thought I have enough height to connect, so I went straight on the glide. And this next ridge works really, really nice. It's a nice way to extend your triangles or out and return flights in Saint André. You get another 10-15 kilometers to your score. Just arriving low, following the nice road here, and moving to the next little cliffy thing in front here. Just kind of, again, going straight. There's enough dynamic lift here, plus some thermic activity, and just hugging the tree line, hugging the mountain, and trying to go forward without a turn, and voila, connected. And this is, once you're here, it's just a straight glide all the way to the end of the ridge, and as you can see later, just turned around and follow Cloud Street there to go all the way back to Saint André and land nicely in the landing field. Here you can see how the clouds are popping up, so I decided to use these new clouds to just have some 2000 meter altitude or so I can go a straight glide all the way back. Yeah, and here I decided just to go straight. There was some little indication of lift at these clouds in front of me. Also, I thought I have enough glide to just go straight, and thought it would be a cool straight line instead of going the usual way back in the ridge. Heading back to the ridge and going straight makes for a safer option, as you can sustain your flight. Here I thought I'll just have enough, plus I saw some clouds right there growing, so I was like, okay, that should be a decent glide. So I just kind of pushed a little bit forward over the town and back landed right next to the school.